we wanted to talk about in this segment uh, constructive conversations. And this is where Deb lives her life.
Talking all day long and having constructive conversations. Yeah.
With couples.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a big area. So, Deb, why don't you kick us off on, I don't know, if you start with what a constructive conversation looks like, or you want to start with how an unconstructive.
Well, actually, that's a really good idea. What a typical unconstructive conversation involves.
Yeah.
When couples come into the office, and I'm sure it sounds just like this in your office in the capacity of financial planning, but when they come into my office and they sit down and I say, so where are we digging in? How can I help you? What's going on? And they'll start to, one of them will share what's going on and what their argument is about, or it inevitably is about the argument that they have relevant to the issue they want to talk about. And one partner starts discussing from their perspective what's going on. And they'll turn to their partner and say, maybe you want to share what's going on for you, or maybe you want to share with Deb what's happening. And that partner will start to talk about, and at times contradict what the first partner just said. As in, yes, that's what they said, and this is why they're wrong. And this is really why we argue, or this is what it's about, and this is what I think, and they think that, but it's wrong. And now we're off to the races, which is really, really actually useful. I get to be a fly on the wall, and I get to see really what is happening. Where is this conflict? To our point that we wanted to include in the book, certainly about what is a constructive conversation. Neither partner in the unconstructive or in the conflict, it is safe to assume that those partners are not listening to each other. They're talking to defend. They're talking to defend their position. They're talking to deliberate, to negotiate, to convince, to pull the other person to their side, which does not work. You can't cajole someone, you can't manipulate somebody into convincing them that their perspective is wrong and that the person's perspective who's talking is right. And so the first step really in a constructive conversation is to listen, not defend, just listen and be
How do I possibly do that when I am so triggered? I am so convinced. I mean, the reason we're here, Deb, is for you to fix my partner and help my partner show them that they're crazy.
I'm actually glad you brought that up, because that is what happens. Many couples come in with the belief that the therapist, the financial therapist, that Deb, I, whoever, becomes the judge, jury, and executioner. Just bring them in by the ear and let them know why they're wrong. And that does not
happens with financial planning too.
Does it really?
Remember one couple where she said, we're here so you can fix his overspending, or we're here so he can understand we've got to take risks, or it's up to you. And man alive, it's
and
like,
what do you do? I can tell you what I do as a therapist, but what do you do when that happens?
oh man, sometimes I may say, well, you might have come to the wrong place, because I'm not going to fix anybody. Or in some way, I want that other person to know. And well, I want them both to know, but especially the person who is the designated patient, the one that the
one who's identified, the one who's identified as the problem.
Right. I want them to know I am here to listen to you, and I'm not here to fix you. that I can't fix anybody. And this has got to come from change. And maybe you don't need to be fixed. Oh my God. Well, that will send the other partner into the stratosphere. So I don't know that I would do that in the most therapeutic way. I mean, what I try to do is listen to each partner, give them a chance to talk, understand a little bit more, and see if I can be a facilitator.
Yeah.
But not a fixer.
And I do the same thing from a perspective that I'm here to help you, the couple, work with each other, not on each other, and to help you both learn how to resolve your conflicts and to give you the skills to do that. I'm not here to fix it. And I'm on the side of collaboration, which means there's no one person who's at fault or one person who's to blame. You have each other's back. That is what you both are here to do. And it begins with, no matter how you feel, no matter how triggered you may be, one or both of you, that I'm going to invite you into this space to be curious about what your partner is saying.
Oh my God, how can I do that? They're the ones that need to be fixed. I've been curious. I know what the issues are.
Understood. For 5 seconds, suspend your perspective enough to be curious about what your partner has to say. Because even if you are right and they are wrong, wouldn't you want to know, and wouldn't you want your partner to know, that you care enough about them, that you value what they have to say, and therefore you value listening?
I think part of what I hear you saying, and this is taught a lot in nonviolent communication and motivational interviewing, is that we've got to get curious about ourselves. Somehow I've got to get to the place where I step away from my partner is the problem. My partner needs to get fixed. And look at my reaction to when my partner does this or says this, and try to really look at myself. In some of these teachings, they say somebody has got to be the one who gets curious.
Yeah,
Somebody's got to be the one that steps up.
Simply without that, there's just no collaboration. You just cannot communicate if at least one person doesn't become curious.
And oftentimes the class will ask, well, who would that be? I mean, and the answer often is, well, probably you, since you're the one taking this training.
That's actually a very good response.
It's like, oh no, can I quit now?
What I say to couples is you can each take turns, so it's not just one person doing the heavy lifting, but you both share the load.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
So the next part of this is to also then, after becoming curious, to separate the person from their behavior. Now, that's a tough one, because there are some actions, and certainly with infidelity, financial deception, there are some very tough conversations that would be impossible and not advisable to not see the person as their behavior. So in those circumstances, we certainly support the fact that there are boundaries and limitations to what is acceptable and tolerable. However, in the scheme of communication, that if the person who's doing the listening can see the partner who's doing the talking and themselves as, I am not my belief and I'm not my behavior, and I can separate the two out, then I make space to listen to what the partner has to say.
So the way that I frame that is this is one of the beauties of IFS, is starting to look at this behavior as a part of my partner.
Yeah,
It is not my partner.
precisely.
It's a part, just like it's a
A
part
of them, you mean?
Yeah, a part of them, a part of them. And I think we introduce, and I think rather in a almost a groundbreaking manner, that if we can do that, if we can start looking at the parts of another person, and having done IFS weekly for in my 7th year now, it probably took me 5 years. My therapist would say, well, oh yeah, you ran into a part of them, or you ran into a part. And I would not look at another person as I was talking to a part. This is them. Even though I'm baked or becoming baked in IFS. And I don't know if we say this in the book, but what I'll tell a person to do is try this with a person, which I don't know, maybe we've done this. It's like, Deb, I'm so angry at you. Blah, blah, blah. Versus, Deb, there's a part of me that is so angry with you. It just can start to diffuse things. And it gives that space of objectivity. And what it's saying is, oh, it's a part of you that's really angry with me, not all. There must then be a part that isn't.
Right. And we brought this up in a different segment where we talked about the cognitive biases, how we agreed or not, whether we want to include it or not. And the part of you that said, no, I don't see the value of it. And then the part of you that ultimately said, wait a second, I do think it's valuable, and how we talked about including that topic. But yes, to separate the person from their behavior and understand, begin to get a sense of curiosity and compassion, it makes so much room and space for collaboration and not just defense, staking the claim, staking the flag in the ground and saying, nope, this is the position and this is where we're going and this is what we're going to do. And couples get in that in retirement because it's a very emotionally charged topic.
And to be able then to look at that part of you, that this is a part of me that has staked the flag. And I've identified one part of me like that. I call it hell no.
You named it. You named it. No
Yeah,
less.
yeah. I work with a therapist who likes to name the parts. And so yeah, I can now identify, okay, hell no's digging in.
Mm-hmm. What's
going on. And of course, there's exiles that are being protected. And it's helpful. It's helpful to me. It's helpful if I have a relationship or feel safe enough with my partner to say, yeah, the hell no part of me has just really come up.
Yeah. The awareness, and you made room for that you could be aware, and that self-awareness that now allows just enough of a shift, if you want to get neurobiologic about it, that our prefrontal cortex can now take over. It's no longer the amygdala and the reactivity, and that we are able to assign a break to the charge, to the energy and the gas of hell no. But instead, well, let me give this some thought. Let me listen. Let me see what's this person's about, or what is it that I'm reacting to? Because inevitably we have to change.